Welcome back, all. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Sarah, and I'm your host at What's on Your Plate podcast. Joining me today is Julius Serrano, coach, author, and all around inspiring human. Julius is here talking about resiliency. It's been the cornerstone of his life and his work, and has been necessary in a way that isn't typical for everyone. Listen into his remarkable story, and you'll absolutely be motivated to stop staying in your excuses in life. Here we go. I am absolutely thrilled to bring Julius Charles Serrano to the conversation today. Julius turned the devastating loss of his sight into a story of triumph. Overcoming fear and uncertainty, he became a successful IT professional and an internationally certified results coach. Today, he empowers countless individuals with proven strategies to rise above adversity, realize their potential, and achieve fulfillment. His book, The Resilience Code, intertwines his personal story of becoming blind with tangible and real approaches to becoming more responsible for your own life, regardless of your circumstances. Julius, I have to say, just right away, that I really enjoyed your book.
Thank you.
To just let our listeners know, who may be watchers as well, depending on which platform that you are enjoying this conversation from. Julius is here fully and present and incredibly engaged with the conversation. But rest assured that even if he is not looking at the camera, Julius is completely here with us and all in on this conversation.
Totally. Thank you so much, Sarah. So thank you for having me here on this podcast, What's on Your Plate. And hello, my friend. Uh, Even if my eyes would be wandering about, I am a person who is totally blind. So rest assured that I'm speaking throughout this conversation. I'm speaking from my heart to yours. So thanks again, Sarah, for having me. I'm super excited.
Yes, I am too. And just thank you so much for already just engaging and connecting so much with our audience. I only can imagine, most of us can only imagine the different way that you have had to go about things in your life based on losing your sight at quite a young age, 16.
Mhm.
Most of us are learning to drive a car at that time in our lives, learning to, do things that are helping us gain independence and empowerment. And you had to go about that in an entirely different way.
Totally. So, taking you back many years ago, I was born nearsighted. So, I could still see. So, I was a typical young person enjoying comic books, Saturday morning cartoons. But the doctors diagnosed a rare condition in my eyesight. So, it had something to do with the optic nerves. And apparently, there's no technology that can resolve that. So as I was growing up in my teens, as you've mentioned, when I was like 14, 15, 16, my eyesight started to deteriorate. And it was a huge challenge for me because this was a period where um, an individual is just ident- um, identifying who they really are. It's like I'm just forming my identity. And all of a sudden, here comes this challenge, which caused a lot of emotional struggle, anxiety, particularly sadness, anger, and sometimes blame. So it was a completely different experience, especially when I was hearing about my classmates. I was in high school when I was hearing about my classmates learning new life skills, as you mentioned, like learning to drive, um, being in a relationship. And because I was so focused on that difficulty, of becoming blind. It's as if I was in a different world, which only consisted of me there.
I absolutely feel like I could understand how that would be true. That isolation that you must have felt during that time in your life was really confusing and scary, I'm sure. And you described the other feelings of just being angry and sad and even the blame. And it is similar to grieving the loss of somebody. You were grieving a loss. At the time, what was for you the outlook on your future? What did you envision for
Very
yourself?
dark.
Hmm.
I didn't know, like when it comes to like education, I didn't know the next step. I just finished high school. So my only option, because I did not know anybody, although I had a very strong support network, which I'm sure we'll be getting to. I did not know anybody who was experiencing the same experience that I had, becoming blind. It's as if, so there I was in my room, my dark room, literally. Um, and I was seeing like, I could still see, but it was like various shades of gray. So at that time, I did not know who I could relate with. And um, the outlook was very dark. I didn't know. I was alone. I felt alone. I had a beautiful support network, as I've said, but I did not know what the next step was. How would I be able to enjoy the same things that I enjoyed? How would I be able to make friends? How would I be able to study? That was the main thing that weighed in my mind. And I'm sure it also weighed in my family's minds as well. So, yes, definitely the outlook, it was different. Looking back, it was very different from my outlook when I was nearsighted, but there was a lot of uncertainty and emotional struggle, as well as like darkness, because I didn't know what the next step was.
Completely fair to feel that way.
Mhm.
I can't imagine anybody approaching that transition in life in any other way other than feeling that helplessness and despair and uncertainty. But you are somebody who found your way beyond that, I feel like earlier than a lot of people would have, beginning to just be aware of resourcefulness, how you could just shift your focus and perspective in order to empower yourself.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, Sarah. Um, I believe that um, with the silence and the isolation came a lot of time. I had a lot of time to think about my life. I was alone most of the time. My family did their best um, to comfort me, to provide practical and emotional support. But in that period of being alone, it gave me time to reflect, to go deep within, and just um, tap into. I guess I was very young. Tap into the subconscious, my inner wisdom, which enabled me to realize what I still had. Yes, my eyesight, I didn't, it was deteriorating until it went to a point wherein I couldn't perceive any light anymore. I could still hear. I could still enjoy my um, cassette tapes. It was the late 90s back then. So I could still hear the documentaries. I can still listen to TV. I call it watching. Blind people can also use the word watch. That's all right. Um, I could still hear my loved one's voice. I could still chat for hours with my classmates on the telephone, on the landline telephone. So definitely, spending all of that time being alone really helped in terms of like resourcefulness. What do I still have? As well as the other things that I discovered in that in those moments of solitude.